What's up, everybody? I'm IAMOBG for tastingskills.com, and today is a review of the Cascade Brewery, situated in Portland, Oregon. Now, they make a series that's called the Northwest Soured Beer Series, and for a beer to technically be a sour, the acidity level has to be lowered all the way to 3.4%. Traditionally, a neutral pH is 7. Alkaline is anything above that. Now that we've covered the technical, what kind of beer do they actually make? Well, they make about 28 different beers, and I've put a link below so that you can go and, as usual, check them out for yourself and see what all the other cool stuff they make. They make some canned beers, but I basically only got several of these, and they're all in pint size, 500 ml. They're all barrel aged, so let's take a quick look at them and see what the big differences are and why they're so special. Let's start with the Encyclopedia Botanica 2018 that has an ABV of 8.7%. This is a barrel-aged blonde ale with elderflower, orange peel, juniper berries, lavender, and other spices. Then we have the Harvest Graft 2018. This has an ABV of 8.8, and this is a blend of a red ale and blonde ale. This is barrel aged in wine and bourbon barrel with apple juice and spices. Then we have the Cacao Cardamom 2018. This has an ABV of 8.7%, and this is barrel aged blonde ale with cacao, cardamom, and orange zest. Then we have the Roadside Chai 2018 that has an ABV of 8.4%, barrel-aged red ale with chai, spice, and black tea. Then I have Val the Imp Aler 2017 that has an ABV of 16.1%. This is a quad and blonde ale aged in bourbon and wine barrel with orange peel and coriander. Then the Bourbonic Plague 2017 has an ABV of 11.1%, and this is an imperial porter aged in bourbon barrel with dates and spice. And finally, we have the Mayan Bourbonic 2017. This one comes in 11.3% alcohol and is an imperial porter aged in bourbon barrel with cacao, cinnamon, cayenne pepper, and dates. Now, when looking at the packaging of these, they're really wonderful. I love how they are really linear in their way. They have beautiful colors when it comes to the packaging. It's simple, it's direct to the consumer. They're just wonderful. I really like the packaging on this. There's a lot of thought that's been put in this, but how do they actually taste? Well, when tasting them, the Encyclopedia Botanica 2018 has this deep amber color. The carbonation is low with small bubbles. On the nose, the aromas of juniper, lavender, just doesn't jump out of the glass, but you get the classic aromas of a sour beer that just screams out. The mouthfeel is driven by the high acidity, of course, just like a white wine that pushes the lavender and some hints of juniper. This beer is just very juicy, and the length on it is very impressive since the alcohol is 8.4%, and it really doesn't show itself. The Harvest Graft 2018 has an orange gold color with low carbonation. Again, the small bubbles are just tiny in these beers. The aromas of the orange blossom just jumps out at you right away with some apples, but on the green side, of course, because they're sours. The palate, once again, the acidity is cutting, and just you can feel the acidity of the apples on this one. There's just layers upon layers of spices that drives the length, and the acidity is just boom, non-stop. These are just like acidity bombs, and I really love that, but it's not for everybody's taste. All right, let's keep going with Roadside Chai 2018. This has a brown color with a golden rib. The carbonation is low once again with those tiny bubbles. On the palate, it's all tea. Chai, 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 baby. The dryness of this one delivers what the chai name states. For me, this has the acidity, but it's not overbearing. The length is really good, and the complex layers of tea are just layers upon layers. Then we have the Cacao Cardamom 2018. This has an orange gold color, and the carbonation is a thick layer of small bubbles. On the nose, the cardamom just jumps out at you with some bourbon cask notes that is very complex for a nose, considering this is a sour. The palate confirms the lovely nose of the cardamom and the orange zest with some nice tobacco spice, leather, and the acidity, again, dries the dry fruit into this magical length. Then Val the Imp Aler 2017 has a deep orange to amber color. The carbonation is low on this one. You do get some orange blossom on the nose, but it's very subtle. On the palate, the acidity does drive some serious fruit note of the orange and a little bit of that coriander at the back. The 11.4% alcohol doesn't show itself, and the balance into the length is impressive. This beer just keeps going when you finish your sip. Then the Bourbonic Plague 2017 has a deep to dark brown color. This one is a thick carbonation, small bubble once again, and the aromas on the nose aren't super powerful. They're kind of flat. You do get the hints of the dates in there that stand out, but you really gotta dig in. But on the palate, there is a lot of that bourbon acidity that you can really find from that porter style beer. The length is good. It delivers some of the imperial style and some spices that come at you in like layer after layer, and the acidity here, again, it just drives everything. Without the acidity, these beers would not be the beers that they are. And finally, the Mayan Bourbonic 2017. Dark brown to black brown, no carbonation on this one as you can see. It's almost flat. Aromas on the nose aren't explosive, it's kind of reserved. You don't get much out of it, but you do get some of the cayenne and some of the dates. It's kind of subtle. Now, on the palate, the dates come at you in layers of acidity, and the lake, once again, just drives everything. Even some late back notes of the cayenne that I really love. And the alcohol isn't overbearing, even at 11.3% ABV. Now for me, I love these beers. They are beautiful beers, but I can't have 2 or 3 or 4 of these. Technically, the acidity just drives everything. This is what sours are supposed to be doing. But physically, I can't drink 3 or 4. Like, that is just too much for me. I'll never be able to function after that. I mean, acidic wise, it's just, my body can't take it. I'm not a young man anymore. But when we look at the quality of these beers, they are just so beautiful. They're well made. I mean, they're technically really perfectly made beers. All right, let's do a quick recap about them, starting with the Encyclopedia Botanica. This one is a buy for me. The Harvest Graph 2018, this is also a buy for me. I really, really love this beer. The Cacao Cardamom 2018, this is a buy. I mean, I really love this beer. My wife wasn't a fan, but for me, I really love the cardamom flavors. That depends on you. All right, next up we have the Roadside Chai 2018. This one is also a buy. I have to say that this, I feel, was one of the better out of the 4 low ABVs, and my wife was just in love with this one, which is kind of bizarre, but I mean, she's a tea girl. All right, then we have the Vlad the Imp Aler 2017. This is a buy for me. I really love how this beer was built, and I'm a fan. I won't have to lie. Then we have the Bourbonic Plague 2017. This was really good. I enjoyed it. I did. And this is also a buy. And finally, the Mayan Bourbonic. Now, I don't know if this beer wasn't conditioned right, but for me, it didn't have enough carbonation. The nose was too subtle, and it just didn't work out for me. What I do recommend, though, is that you do buy all of these beers. And if you do, please taste them side by side so you can really understand what Cascade Brewery is trying to do here. I mean, these are technically perfect beers. There's a lot of work to do these beers, and frankly, I'm impressed by this line. Like I said previously, I can't drink 7 of these physically. It's too acidic for me, so that's kind of it for me. But I do recommend that you go check out the link below. And please, as usual, comment. Let me know what you think. If there's another brewery that makes something similar like this. It's hard to find aged sours. It's basically Cascade Brewery's MO. But that's going to do it for me. All right, I'm IAMOBG for tastingskills.com. And as usual, please smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And please comment below. Otherwise, remember, stay sober. Peace.